Hey everyone, this is Jacob Castro and welcome to another episode of Jacob's Aquarium. So now that I had a chance to actually use my new wet dry filter for a little while, I thought I would do a full review about it now because there aren't really any videos about Eshopps wet dry filters on YouTube yet. So I wanted to make one in case people were considering buying the filter or something like that. That way they would have some good information and some tips as well. So let's start with the actual filter box. The filter box is not really that big. This is the smallest model. This is made for aquariums between 10 to 75 gallons. So you're really not going to have that much room to put, say, your heater, UV sterilizer, stuff like that. If your UV sterilizer is attaching to your return line, then of course you can, but for those that are fully submersible, there's really not that much space. But something funny that they did was they put a little separator there of acrylic in the middle when they could have just left that open, and then you had a whole bunch of more space, and then you probably could fit a full-size heater. But since that little piece of plastic or acrylic or whatever is in the way, you really have no space whatsoever. So of course, in the larger models, you'll have plenty of space to put other stuff like, heaters and things like that. But for this model, you really don't. So that's the only downside. But let's take a look inside just so I can show you guys. So you see in here, we got the return pump, the Maxi Jet water pump. And those are the C nodes from the other filters that I had. I put them in there just so I can get the biological process started, because the bivalves are new, so they have no good bacteria on them whatsoever. But the filter has plenty of room in there. C nodes in there. I mean, you could fit some other stuff, but there's really not much space in there. It did come with quite a few bivalves, even some extra ones, so that was good. The drip plate is also very, really good. Let's take a look at that. Got my temperature gauge here. See, one thing I was looking forward to was putting everything inside the wet dry filter, but it's not going to happen, but it's okay. So here is the actual drip plate. I have a problem saying that. As you can see, I've made my own filter pad. The one that comes with it is good, but not necessarily do I want to use that. I thought I would cut up some of my micron filter pads. That way I can get rid of a lot of really small particulate that's in the water. But yeah, a really good rate of flow with this thing. And I keep these on top of here just to keep it down, because in the beginning, until the hose gets formed to its shape, it is kind of hard. So so if you leave it like it is without the weights on top of it, it'll just kind of pop right off. So to avoid that, I put some weight on it. But yeah, it works really well. The water flows over the bivalves very efficiently, and then goes down there and gets some good oxygen started down there, mixing all the water together. And so far I haven't had any problems with the water level. That sticker is obviously very helpful, and keeping the water level right there is perfect and sufficient. So now let's take a look at the overflow box. This is the overflow box. You may be looking at this going, oh my god, what the heck is that? Well, something happened to my YouTube that I had on here. It's funny that it's called YouTube and I'm posting this on YouTube. I thought that poking a hole in the top would in fact fix the constant air bubble problem, but that just ruined it. So I was an idiot, and yeah, I should have not done that. But I created my own siphon with some extra hosing that I had left over, and it's working quite well. I got a new YouTube in the mail, so it should be here pretty soon. So of course I'm going to be using what you're supposed to be using. I can't be using this constantly, because something could happen and then water could go everywhere. They've done something with the intake, which is pretty cool. They put a little piece of plastic tubing on the top, which helps with the noise, because without that you could get some suction noises or slurping noises, as some people have said, and as you can see, you don't hear any of that. So Eshopps has been pretty smart and, you know, conveniently put that on the intake tube so people don't have to try to figure out a method of doing it themselves. So the overflow box works really well. Pretty much everything I did was hand tightened. You really didn't have to use any tools, which was another cool thing. Here's one thing that you guys should know when you buy this filter. See that right there? Yeah. That is in fact the outtake tube from the filter. And I had to use one of those little clamps on there because water was constantly leaking out. And you know, you see how tight it is in there. You know, just without the little fitting, you would see how tight the hose fits over it, and you think it wouldn't leak, but surprisingly it did. And I think it's just because this little plastic piece right here is just so cheap. But you know, just buy a little clamp, put it on there, and it should work pretty well. Don't trust just the regular, you know, tightness of the outtake and the hose, because you'll end up with water everywhere like I did. But the outtake works pretty well. Being so cheap, cheaply made at that, it works really well. And you can see right there, you can adjust it and things like that, and point it in any direction that you'd like. One thing though that you should know is that if you want to put like your air pump inside of the wet dry filter, it's really not going to provide any oxygen to the fish, because I tried that thinking that I wouldn't have to have an air stone in there, but turns out that it wasn't enough for the fish and they needed more oxygen. So I put it back in the tank, and they're doing quite well now. They're all excited. They think I'm going to feed them. These angelfish are pigs. Okay, so that is the complete filter. And for those of you, okay, yeah, I should say, for those of you it's telling me that I need an aquarium background, you know, I don't really want one. I like seeing everything that's going on. And, you know, just as much as you're trying to create a real environment inside the tank, you still want to, you know, keep it in an aquarium. You don't want to fully disguise it. So I personally like to see everything that's going on, the filter box and stuff like that. So I've chosen not to do an aquarium background, but you know, it still looks perfect. You know, people prefer different things. So I spent about $192 on this unit plus shipping. It was like 200 something bucks, so definitely worth it. It was around 200 because of the water pump, I should say that. So originally I got this on sale on the Dr. Foster and Smith website for 150 bucks. So right now they're all the way back up to 180. So when they're on sale, buy it, take advantage of it, because they are pretty expensive. But nonetheless, you know, a wet dry filter works very well because of just, you know, what it is. It's so much more efficient filtration than power filters and things like that. You know, just be prepared to you know, just keep an eye on it. Because it is a wet dry filter, and you're moving water around, you know, outside of the tank, and you want to make sure that your siphon is always, you know, working properly and things like that. You know, pretty much you should be okay. You just want to keep an eye on it. So this is the Eshopps wet dry filter, the WD-75CS model. Works very well. Just buy a hose clamp and a good water pump that's around 300 gallons per hour, and you should be good to go. Thanks for watching this episode of Jacob's Aquarium, and I'll see you guys next time.